All right. All right, so good afternoon, everyone, and thank you for joining us today for the Unsheltered Point in Time Count training. My name is Bree Phillips, and I'm the COC Systems Coordinator at CARES of New York, where I work with the Systems and Strategic Planning Committees. Having previously worked as a Street Outreach Program Manager, I've spent several years out in the community leading the efforts of point in time counts and look forward to supporting all of you as we prepare for this year's. As I review today's agenda, I would like to ask each lead agency on the call to be prepared for me to call on them following this for introductions. For our training agenda today, we will review the housing and inventory chart / point in time count basics, the charge from HUD, HIC versus PIT, sheltered versus unsheltered count, confirm our point in time count date, review the methodology forms for unsheltered point in time count lead completion, discuss and edit the 2023 survey and observation tool, discuss and confirm the recommended changes, review the 2023 unsheltered point in time count timeline, as well as our next steps. So as I stop sharing my screen and get ready to please unmute yourself, as I will be calling out each county and agency. And if you could share your name, your agency, and if you guys have completed the point in time count in the past, that would be lovely. So do we have anyone on the call today from the YWCA of Binghamton and Broome? Okay. Do we have anyone here from
Bree?
Oh, yes. Do we?
You do, yeah. You have Melanie Mendoza.
I'm here from the Y. I'm
Rosario.
sorry.
Not a problem. Thank you so much for joining us, Melanie.
No problem.
Just a quick question for you guys. How long have you been participating in the unsheltered point in time count?
This would be my first time participating in it, but I'm aware of the process and steps.
Wonderful. Thank you. And thank you so much for also joining us from the YWCA.
Bree, we also have Ephraim. Sorry to jump in, but Ephraim mentioned that he's done the pit count last year, but his mic is not working, unfortunately.
Thank you so much, Ephraim, for joining us today. Do we have anyone here from the county of Chenango? Okay. From Catholic Charities of Cortland County.
It's me and Julie there. I've participated. I think this is my third time doing it.
Wonderful. Awesome. Thank you so much, Colin and Julie, for joining us today. Do we have anyone from Delaware Opportunities? Okay. Opportunities for Otsego. Okay. And Catholic Charities of Tompkins and Tioga.
Yeah, so my name is Gabby Ayers. So I am now the point person. Joe was no longer the point person as of this morning.
Okay. Thank you so much, Gabby. And Patrick, I saw you raise your hand as well.
Yes, I'm also from Catholic Charities in Tompkins, Tioga, more specifically Tioga.
Wonderful. Thank you so much for joining us. And then also if there's anyone from A New Hope Center on the call as well. Okay. And
our colleague Jennifer Payne is from Catholic Charities, Tioga as well.
Wonderful. Jennifer, would you like to introduce yourself and how long you've been in the pit count before?
I'm Jennifer Payne. This will be my first year.
Wonderful. Thank you so much for joining us. And Debbie, I also don't want to leave you out. Would you like to introduce yourself as well and how long you've been in the point in time count?
So I've worked on the administrative part of the count. I've never actually done an outside street count, but I've been doing this now for quite a few years. So
wonderful. Well, thank you for being here.
Thank you.
All right, we'll jump right back in. So listed here are our unsheltered pit leads, and we are looking today to try to confirm our point in time count date. And I'm wondering, asking the group if January 27th of 2023 works well for all of you guys. Please feel free to unmute if that does not work for you.
Is that the last Thursday?
I believe so, yep. It's actually that Friday.
I was just gonna say I think it's the last Friday in January.
I have a training that day.
Okay.
Do you want to do the 26th instead? Does that work for folks? Again, a thumbs up from Patrick.
I'm just checking this out.
Both of those days work for me in Cortland.
You said the 26th?
Yes.
Yep.
Does that work, Ephraim?
I won't be working that day, but I will come to the session.
So if that, we could shoot for some other days if that's better.
No, I'll come in. I'll definitely. I
Okay.
can jump on from
This-
home.
I'm sorry, Kelsey, this is Debbie. This is for the actual night of the count, correct?
Yes.
Okay, so folks should understand that this will be the night that you and your teams will be going out into the community to.
Oh,
Wait, what time? It's not during work hours?
No, it's not during work hours.
Well, then I'm free. I'm free the 27th.
Okay.
Thanks, Debbie.
Okay.
I would still encourage a Thursday rather than a Friday.
Okay.
Okay.
All right. So how does the 26th sound okay for everyone then? And then that Friday could be a snow day for us, just in case anything goes on the 26th.
Sounds good to me.
Okay. That sounds good.
What is the recommended time frame?
It has to be held within the last 10 days of January. So there's a little
Actual clock time.
Doesn't technically matter that night usually, and then the morning of is usually when people are going out. And that kind of can be decided based on your group as well, what works for everyone.
Last year I went out 12 a.m.
Yep.
and then went back home, and then all right. I'm thinking night the day before 12 a.m. Sorry.
Yep. Nope, no worries. All right. So we'll keep going with today's goals. We have already covered most of this in our agenda, but a few of our goals today is going to be to review the housing inventory chart and point in time count basics, discuss the unsheltered pit methodologies and best practices, review and edit the survey and observation tools, confirm the sheltered pit leads, and confirm the unsheltered pit timeline. Under section 578.7 of the COC program interim rule, COCs must plan and conduct a pit count of homeless persons within your geographic area. Section 578.3 of the COC program interim rule states that pit counts are carried out on one night in the last 10 calendar days of January or at such other times as required by HUD. HUD has historically, through notices of funding opportunity, required COCs to conduct an annual housing inventory chart and point in time count to receive maximum points in the annual COC program competition and anticipates continuing this practice for the indefinite future. The housing inventory chart and point in time count data will continue to provide critical updates on national and local progress towards preventing and ending homelessness. Next, we're going to review the housing chart and housing inventory chart and point in time count basics. In the past, we have had questions about the timing of the point in time count. This graphic is from HUD's notice, which describes a bit more of when you can conduct the point in time count, ensuring that you are pointing back to one single night. The housing inventory chart is an inventory of all dedicated homeless beds, which includes emergency shelter, transitional housing, safe haven, permanent supportive housing, and rapid rehousing beds. It is conducted in the last 10 days in January on the same date as the point in time count and informs the homeless assistance community on unit and bed capacity. The point in time count is a count of everyone experiencing homelessness on one night. It includes sheltered and unsheltered, and again is conducted in the last 10 days in January. The purpose is to provide the homeless assistance community with data needed to understand the number and characteristics of persons who are homeless at one point in time. For the sheltered point in time count, this is a count of all persons in emergency shelter, hotel or motel paid for by the Department of Social Services or a not-for-profit, transitional housing or safe haven on the night of the count. It is conducted in the last 10 days in January and is led by Northern Creations, our HMIS lead. And for the unsheltered point in time count, this is a count of all persons residing in a place not meant for human habitation on the night of the count. It is conducted in the last 10 days in January and is led by the COC Unsheltered Pit Leads yourself in the county. Be sure not to include any of the following people in your unsheltered point in time count. This includes individuals in emergency shelter, individuals temporarily staying with friends and family, individuals in hotels or motels paid for by the Department of Social Services or self-pay, individuals residing in institutions, and individuals residing in permanent supportive housing or rapid rehousing projects. It is important to note that some of these individuals will be captured in your sheltered point in time count.
Bree, could we pause there? There was one question in the chat about an issue with sound. Are people hearing Bree okay? Most folks?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
I'm hearing okay.
Okay, great. All right, we'll keep going.
Wonderful. So here are best practices that have been reported to us by service providers who have completed the count in prior years. At the end, we will be asking agencies on this call if you have other best practices as well that you would like to share with us for guidance. Number one, reach out to your local law enforcement and community agencies before the date of the unsheltered point in time count. Number two, consider wearing agency t-shirts or lanyards to identify yourself as a group and bring marketing materials or basic necessity items to help refer clients. 3, it is safest to walk around in pairs, but before approaching a community member, pick who will lead the conversation and who will be the support person. And number 4, if a member of the community is not interested in completing the survey, ask if they are aware of any other locations that may not have been identified, as many of them are experts in their communities as well. And we recommend these HUD infectious disease guidelines as it applies to your community. It is recommended that all participants adhere to the following guidelines: provide personal protective equipment for volunteers, design volunteer processes and trainings that minimize close contact, and provide volunteers a variety of service opportunities such as data entry. And now, as we transition to the methodology forms, I'd like to open it up to discussion if anyone on this call would also like to share with us best practices that they've used while conducting the unsheltered point in time count. Please feel free to unmute if you'd like to share.
Are we talking best practices for that night or everything?
Yep, I mean, in general, we'll take best practices with everything. I think leading up is important, but also on that night of the count, if you're very confident and comfortable going out there, what kind of skills and tools are you using as well?
I mean, besides going with somebody else, I would say, I wore like a shirt, almost like a construction color shirt or something, or like or have the reflectors on or something on top of that as well. So at least it gives, because when I see somebody with a reflector on, I'm thinking like, okay, beside this has to be like a worker or something that's doing something out on the street or working in the building or something like that. So I wore something like that. So at least as I'm walking through the forest, they see me. They see that somebody's coming and everything like that. And, not walking aggressively, of course. But I've also carried like a blanket with me or something, like one of the little tote blankets that we have here at the Y. And them seeing that sometimes helps out. I guess bright colors, really, that kind of thing. I see that's helped out when I did it.
And if there are encampments and stuff like that, we also recommend to announce your presence before you're showing up on, these are their homes. So you can start to announce from a little bit further away. My name is Bree. I'm here with the point in time count training, and I'm about to approach. If you'd like to meet me halfway, that'd be great. It's just a really respectful way as well of letting people know that you're approaching. Does anyone else have any other things that they'd like to add?
I'm wondering if, sorry.
Well, I was going to say, sorry, Haley. I was going to say, I don't have anything about the actual count of the unsheltered count, other than I think as a COC, and I'm saying this from a rural county without a technical homeless shelter or with so few beds available or ever available, that we miss a ton because people crawl into other people's homes when it's really cold. And that's just, I think, an injustice. And I think we should be talking about how to advocate upwards about actually trying to capture the couch surfing dynamic. Thanks for the nods.
It's a very good point. Mhm. One other thing I was going to say, and this is very obvious, but working with programs where people are already going to be congregating who would fit the definition of unsheltered. So different meal programs or any sort of service provider partners that you have in the community where you can partner with in advance to make sure that you're capturing those that are being served on that night is a great idea too.
Awesome. Well, thank you, everybody. Oh yeah, Haley.
Sorry, if I could squeak in here.
Please do.
I just wanted to see, I know a couple folks noted that this will be their first pit this year. So I just wanted to see if folks who are doing this for the first time have any questions, comments, or concerns about the best practices or anything that you'd like to ask the group. Doesn't look like it. Thanks, Bree.
No problem. All right, so we'll jump right now into our methodologies. So we usually, as usual, we are asking you to fill out 3 methodology forms. The purpose of these are to share how you overall are conducting the unsheltered point in time count in terms of stakeholders you are engaging, locations you are reaching out to, as well as how you are doing that specifically with both veterans and with youth. The purpose of this is that we will need to speak to this information when we submit the point in time count to HUD, and it will also be used to submit the COC applications. If you have any questions with the methodologies or further, please let us know, and otherwise we would like them returned to us by January 11th. So I'll scroll down a little bit so everyone can see more of what is asked in the methodologies for those of you that are doing it for the first year. And please feel free to unmute if you have any questions right now about the methodologies.
Have you already sent this out?
Nope, there will be an email following this training where you will get that embedded in the email.
Sounds good, thanks.
Absolutely. All right. So the next thing that we are going to look at is our survey and our observation tools. For the 2023 Unsheltered survey, the only changes that HUD is recommending are regarding demographics, including age, gender, race, and ethnicity. As a reminder, the first page is covering the head of household, and the additional pages cover any other members within the household. Does anyone have any additional questions or comments related to the changes to the Unsheltered point-in-time count survey? All right. And
Bree, do you want to?
oh
Oh,
yeah,
I'm sorry. We're going to touch on kind of using this as an observation tool
sure
also.
was. Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Yep. So yes, in the past, we have typically used two separate tools for an observation tool for individuals who decline the survey or are not approachable. We can continue to utilize that separate tool, but you may notice here in highlighted that we've also added just a little section so that you guys could continue to move forward with just one form. Does anybody have a preference to keeping it with one form or continuing with two separate ones? Any preference to one or two? Is it easier to go out with one for you guys?
I think I preferred the one, but I don't know what the second one looked like.
The second one was a little bit more vague. It had a bunch of it was a blank form where you could then identify the individual and still fill out the demographics as you went along. It just didn't have as much of the language. So what we truly did with this one was just add another box where you guys could just mark off that instead you're using it as an observation tool.
Bree, this is Debbie. Could you bring that form up again and just, I just wanted to, because Northern Creations does get these forms after they're filled out. And I just wanted to, if you could scroll up just a little bit.
Absolutely.
I just wanted to emphasize the first thing that says, if the person says no, that just what it says there, thank them and walk away. And if they say that, they are not, they're living in an apartment, then you wouldn't be filling out this form.
I have a question.
Yeah.
So if they say no, you thank them and walk away, but do you want a tally of how many people are saying no?
I would say only if if it's evident or from prior casework that person is unsheltered, then you would count them and you would fill out this form based on your knowledge of them. Does that answer your question, Melanie?
Yes, thank you.
Okay, great.
All right. And another important thing that we just recommend is that if you are doing the observation tool and you don't already have that prior relationship through case management and client work, to not assume the individual's demographics. That is very important as well. All right. And the last thing that we're going to review today is the Unsheltered point-in-time count timeline. So today we are here doing the training. On December 16th, you will receive the email with COC memberships confirming the date or alternative date that we've selected. By December 21st, the planning lead will share the county level unsheltered pit leads template and volunteer emails. And I just want to make reference as well that when I'm speaking about the unsheltered pit task force lead, we are referring to Debbie and Northern Creations. On January 11th, the county level unsheltered pit leads will return their methodology forms to the planning lead and unsheltered pit task force lead. In January as well, the Unsheltered Pit Task Force lead will host a training with county level leads to discuss best practices in identifying hotspots and volunteers, review how to train volunteers on utilizing the tool, review how to submit information collected, and meet individually with each lead to review identified hotspots and recruited volunteers. And CARES would be happy to assist in any way. In January 20th, the planning lead will send emails to COC memberships as a reminder that they are 1 week out from the point in time count. And you will also receive an email from the planning lead that you will be 1 day out from completing the point in time count. On February 10th, service providers will send their data collection forms to the county level unsheltered pit leads. And on February 17th, the county level unsheltered pit leads will send aggregated data to the unsheltered pit task force lead. The unsheltered pit review panel will be held as necessary to ensure deduplication. And in March of 2023, there will be an unsheltered pit lead debriefing. And in April as well, there will be a data memo available for the community to review. Additional tasks are that in late December and early January, the county level unsheltered pit leads will begin to recruit and train their pit count volunteers and program staff. And that is our last thing to cover today. So I'm going to open it up for any further questions or discussion.
Yeah, I'm so full.
Haley, am I sending out the known location? Where did Haley go? Did we lose?
I'm
Oh,
here,
there she is. Am I sending out the known location list from last year, or are you sending that out?
It'd be great if you could send that out. If you did want me to send that out, if you could please provide that to me and I can forward it on. It's really what works best for you.
No, that's fine. I'm going to need the finalized list of county leads when we have
Got it. Yeah, we
But,
can
yeah, I'm happy to do that.
definitely communicate that to you as soon as we know. I think right now Shenango is the only county that we don't have a confirmed lead for.
Right.
Yep.
Okay. Thanks.
Mhm.
Debbie, I'm also wondering if we want to open up the discussion with the group of talking about doing the point in time count for a longer than just the single day. What are your thoughts about opening up that discussion?
Yes. Yes, I wanted to give them the opportunity to think about that because of the difficulty that, trying to capture unhoused folks on a single night. So yes, you may do that.
All right. So it would need to be a consensus of the group to move forward with doing the week-long point in time count. But the most important thing to know is that when you are conducting that, you are still pointing back to one single date. So you can ask the question for more days going forward, but you're still referring back to that single night. So say someone's coming to your food pantry or to, a meal service, you can ask them questions at a later date, but you would say, we're referring back to the night of, were you experiencing homelessness on this date, or were you unsheltered? Does anyone have any thoughts or concerns about extending it to be longer than just a single day? right. If we aren't hearing from everyone, is that a thumbs up to move forward with going with the week-long one? Okay. We've got one
Yes.
thumbs up.
If it was like a week long, you could just kind of keep asking for those surveys, even if you just really go out that one night.
Yes.
Okay.
Yep. It's just if there's more opportunities that you may happen upon people, it gives you another chance. And sometimes for those rural communities, it can be helpful when you're really struggling to maybe find people on the night of.
Yeah, I think that'd be helpful.
Okay. All right. Are there any other questions or concerns about just the unsheltered point in time count in general?
One thing I wanted to mention is just that we send out, messaging to the COC board and to membership about the pit count and the HIC as well, the date and as who the unsheltered pit leads are. So I just wanted to see from those of you that have multiple folks on from the same agency, is there one person in particular you would like to be listed in that email communication in case there are folks from membership from your communities who want to elect to reach out and offer to participate? So Catholic Charities of Cortland County, who should we list there?
You can list Colin as a lead. I'm kind of just here listening and learning a little bit about this.
Okay.
Be the lead.
Great, thank you. And Catholic Charities of Tompkins, Tioga?
Gabby Ayers is listed, correct? Yes.
That works, yep.
Gabby Ayers is the lead contact. And I would share our agency is Tompkins, Tioga, but we are only doing the pit count in Tioga.
Yep.
Tompkins is
separate
other area, right?
Yep.
Okay.
Yep, separate continuum of care, yes. Okay, great. And
Kelsey, I'm
Ethan-
sorry,
Oh.
before we go forward, Patrick, I'm gonna put my contact information in the chat. I don't believe I have Gabby's information. If possible, would you please connect with me and send me her email?
Yes.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Good point, Haley. And YWCA Binghamton Broome, Ephraim or Melanie, who would you like listed?
Ephraim, he's more experienced.
Okay. Let's see. And is there anyone I missed who should be listed?
If Fran, Kelsey, do you think we should list Fran, if Fran would like to be listed alongside Gabby?
Does that work for you, Fran?
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay, great. Okay, great.
I saw, Haley, I saw Joe Palmieri pop in. He's with Greater Opportunities in Shenango. You might want to try reaching out to him. He was having trouble with hearing, so I think he may have disconnected. But maybe touch base with him to see if he was going to be doing that for Shenango.
Okay.
I don't know who else to pick on up there.
Yeah, Debbie, you said he's with Greater Opportunities?
Yes.
Okay, do you think, I've never, I don't believe I have his contact information either.
I'll send it to you.
Thank you so much, appreciate
Okay,
that.
no problem.
Wonderful. All right. Are there any other last minute comments or concerns? All right. Well, I guess we are all set to wrap it up for today then. And please be on the lookout as we'll follow up with an email and a link for the training as well. So thank you all for joining us today. I appreciate it.
Thank you,
Thanks,
Bree.
everybody.
That
Thank
was
you.
wonderful. You did a great presentation.
Thank you,
you.
Debbie. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thanks all. Let me know if I can provide any support.